Hello, it's Peter Bradshaw here from The Guardian again, and welcome back to this film review channel with its special Christmas edition. And here is the panettone of criticism, richly fruited with insights. The great Japanese animator Hayao Miyazaki recently cancelled the retirement which he'd announced back in 2013, which had moreover involved suspending all production at his Studio Ghibli, and he's now written and directed this new feature film, The Boy and the Heron. In movie terms, it's the equivalent of Prospero supergluing his staff back together and carrying on regardless. I found it a mysterious and charming fantasy which circles back to Miyazaki's classic personal themes of childhood pain and grief, and how some of these were forged in the fires of the Second World War. And it also brings home an authorial point that still deserves wider attention, I think, than it gets. Miyazaki has been influenced by classic English children's literature. At various times, this reminds me of Lewis Carroll's Alice and C.S. Lewis's The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. The film's original title, How Do You Live, is however taken from a 1937 Japanese novel, what might now be called YA, by Kanzaburo Yoshino, referenced in the film's action and a favourite of Miyazaki's. How do you live? By coming to terms with the past, by forgetting it, or transforming it into something manageable and malleable, something that will not crush you. Mahito, voiced by Soma Santoki, is a boy whose mother was killed in 1943 during an Allied air raid. His father gets married again to his late wife's sister, and a few years later takes Mahito to live at his wife's family's country estate, whose grounds are dominated by a huge and oddly sinister tower. He is the manager of a munitions factory making aeroplanes to counter, in fact, the effect of enemy aircraft that killed his mother, whose outer shells he ends up bizarrely having to store at this property. Miyazaki's own father was a munitions manager. Does the director remember this happening in his own life? To make things even more painful for Mahito, who can in any case hardly process what is happening, his stepmother aunt Natsuko, voiced by Toshino Kimura, is pregnant. It is as if his mother's existence in his life has been refabricated in a surreally wrong way, and Mahito could naturally never be so disobedient or disloyal as to question his father's decisions, or even think about them directly. Poor Mahito is then confronted by a macabre talking heron which swoops into his life. Natsuko disappears, and Mahito must go on a quest to look for her in a parallel universe, the gateway to which is, of course, in this tower. And this universe is populated by all sorts of weird and wonderful creatures, and yes, perhaps these figures will be a little familiar to Miyazaki followers. But it is only when this story is all over, and it is allowed to settle in your mind, that its potency is revealed. In a way, the huge, surreal panoply is a symptom of Mahito's emotional overload, something that he has perhaps imagined, although this kind of rational explanation is inimical to the film's spirit. The Boy and the Heron is a valuable new addition to this unique film artist's canon, about confronting a terrible sadness and finding a way to replace it with wonder and joy. So that is it for 2023. Please give this vlog a like and a share on your socials. Please subscribe and leave a comment to say that you've done so, and tell me what your favourite films of the year have been. Please check out my author page at The Guardian, and please buy my book, The Films That Made Me, an edited selection of my essays and reviews for The Guardian. I just want to quickly apologise for mispronouncing Leonard Bernstein's name a while back, and thank viewers for the tact and delicacy with which they've pointed this out. And I also want to thank you all in general for your lovely comments. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, and see you in 2024.